guard!
Indiana up, guys! Cover up! Cover up!
There is pepper spray!
Cover your face!
You're all under arrest! You're all under arrest!
Pray!
Back off!
Pray!
Under arrest! No, you guys are
Stand together! Stand together! Do not be afraid! Stand in prayer!
Hey!
Come on!
My name is Hoash de Wakia, and it is October, no, is it October? September, October 22nd?
October, yeah.
October
October 23rd.
23rd. On October 22nd, a group of my brothers and sisters and I went out to go pray over the burials of our ancestors in North Dakota here, right off the Standing Rock Reservation, when we were confronted by officers of the Martin County Police Department, members of the Homeland Security, and the National Guard, who swept on us with sound machines, water cannons. We were maced, we were batoned, we were corralled like animals, and we were assaulted physically, verbally. We were terrorized. We had helicopters flying over us, a little bit above head level. They were probably about maybe 15 feet off of the ground, and they swarmed us and swarmed us and swarmed us. They had the police, the Morton County Police airplane out there flying and checking and making sure none of us ran away. We were assaulted on non-private lands, on public lands. And when I say we were assaulted, we were assaulted. We were praying there. We sat and sang songs and dropped tobacco, and many of us were on our knees actually in humble prayer when they decided to cut through the line that they had put themselves on and come and attack us. As they told us to walk away, and as we walked away, they started grabbing people from the collar and jerking them down to the ground, hitting people's heads on rocks, on the earth, on the solid hard earth. After they did that, they began batoning us. They broke a few hands of young people. They maced a young girl. These are minors, mind you. There were several elders, including myself and others, that were assaulted by them, and we literally had to run to the creek. It reminded us all, after we were talking about the days when George Custer would bring out his Gatling gun and spray us down, and in order for us to survive, we had to run to the rivers and to get into the water and be silent and hide out as they were massacring us. And that's exactly what we saw. We saw those same very tactics being applied on all of us. When we first started walking away, the first people that they grabbed were the native activists. So we were pushed into the center of the crowd to be protected because we were the elders down on the line. And when they did that, our non-Indian supporters at that point started hovering around us so they wouldn't get to us. And the Morton County agency that was responsible out there began then brutalizing our non-Indian supporters. And I mean brutalizing, they open sprayed full force with pepper spray, bear spray, mace, and then broke out their batons and started beating on us. When they realized that we still had warriors up on the hill that were coming down and had their backside, then that's when they came in with their vehicle. The police were afraid because we outnumbered them 2-1, even though they were about 100 deep, and they were there with shotguns, they were there with rubber bullet guns, they were there with handguns, and everything was drawn on us. The other videos show that. We were peaceful. We never once raised our hands to them, and they keep repeatedly telling the Morton County constituents that they have reason to assault us and attack us in order to build their propaganda campaign against us. But the truth of the matter is we were terrorized, we were brutalized, our constitutional rights were ignored, our civil liberties were ignored, and 80 of us were arrested because we stood our ground peacefully, locking arms. I was lucky, my partner was lucky, we got away, my nephews were arrested or abducted, as I've been telling everybody. All my bros, all my sisters, all my homegirls, all the folks that have been fighting this war with us were abducted criminally and illegally by the fascist unit that is known as the Morton County Police Department. That law officer, whoever is in charge, the governor needs to be impeached. The senators that are supporting this need to be impeached, and most definitely each one of those officers need to be tried and convicted of war crimes against humanity for what they did to us.
And what was the purpose that you and others were gathered?
We had gone out there to pray because where they're digging through our burial grounds. And so we went out there to go pray with our ancestors, and we wanted to go to the burial mounds themselves and drop tobacco. That's why we were brought in to go and sing to the ancestors and ask them for help to help them so that they can stay in the ground and stay protected. Now they keep hiring their private archaeologists. I have a master's in anthropology. I'm an educated individual. I'm a doctor of history. I know what goes on out there. Plus, I was raised traditionally with the language and the culture and the traditions. And so we were asked to go out there with everyone, to go out there and pray over our ancestors and to ask them for support from the spirit world. When we got out there, we frightened the police officers with our ability to pray because they know we are the voice of prophecy.
And what are your thoughts on and feelings, the perspective on the pipeline and their choice to do that?
Well, my personal opinion is that this is an exercise of environmental racism. When Bismarck and Morton County voted not to have that go through their land and disrupt their drinking waters and their farming lands, they brought it straight to the reservation, and that thing is going to go straight down all the way down to Lower Brule, all reservation lands. And so this is an extreme act of racial prejudice and environmental racism and how they're trying to apply this thing. My personal opinion is that it needs to be stopped. We're talking about vehicles that have 15% efficiency rate, and that is the most ridiculous thing that we could think of. There are other modes of transporting things and people from one place to another. We don't need oil. This is about someone's private investment to try to keep America and the world strung out on that oil. So I'm completely opposed to it. I would rather walk from one place to the other.
Thank you so much. Blessings.
Yep.
Sorry this is happening.
Yesterday it was on the ground when the forces when they came, and it's a pretty traumatic experience to say the least. Watching elders get arrested during prayer and seeing my brothers and sisters, these people, these beautiful people, intelligent people, non-criminals, they're not violent people, they're not rapists, they're not murderers, they're not abusers, they're good people, good, strong people of our community. And watching them being handcuffed and men going by with the feathers in their hair and handcuffed, and seeing ceremonial bundles laying on the ground, and it was that was hard. And hearing those cannons going off and thinking about how what's going on today, how connected it is to our entire history, to everything that we've overcome at this point, the things that we've endured up to this point, and how strong we are, and our people, we're unarmed. Nobody had guns, nobody has anything, and we're doing this just to protect our children, just to protect our future, to protect everybody. And we stood up against these men with their assault rifles, their tear gas, everything. And they were taking us by bus loads. And when they took the group I was with, there was 3 more buses lined up. There was 2 National Guards buses pulling in. And then I saw the cement barricades that they were getting ready to erect that night after they moved us. When we pulled into the sheriff's department, we was caged in dog kennels and sat on the floor, and we were marked with numbers. So
you're in dog kennels, huh? No,
yeah.
Not a cell.
Yeah, we were in cells. We were in the garage, being held in the garage, and they had dog kennels, and there was 2 for the women, and they had tarps up, so we couldn't see out. And we could hear the buses coming. We could see where I was sitting, I could see a crack, so I could see one of the buses pull up, and just can't that whole time, the entire yesterday, I couldn't my mind, I couldn't wrap around the fact that this is happening today. This isn't something that we're reading in history books. This isn't something that we're watching a documentary on. This is happening today. This is happening here. This isn't, this is with my own eyes, and hearing these sounds of these cannons going off, and it keeps replaying in my mind. And this is today. This is now. And